Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Back in the USA again. Okay, I may be changing this name of this channel. I'm not sure to what, because I'm going to cover some broad, broad range of material. But I want to talk about my travels. I'll tell you how I got the name real quick. A few years ago, I was going back and forth to Canada, to Windsor. I live in the Detroit area, and I would take the tunnel, go there, spend about 3 days a week, 3 evenings a week, or 3 days a week. I would go over there, sometimes in the daytime too. And then a friend of mine told me about a resort out near Sabo Beach. And I went to a resort up there in near the Bruce, right by the Bruce Peninsula there. That was like a 4-hour drive. I went there. I stayed there for a week. A friend of mine told me about it. He was in there he goes there 27 years, every year with his wife. So I went up there, traveled up there, really enjoyed it. I like taking pictures with my camera on my iPhone. And so then things ran out. Ideas ran out, and I didn't know what to do. I wanted to go somewhere, and a friend of mine told me about traveling to Cuernavaca, and I'll go into that later. I went there for a week, came back after a week, went to Myrtle, drove down to Myrtle Beach. Then I went back to Mexico again and stayed for 6 months, and then came back for 6 months, and then went and stayed there again for 6 months. And I haven't been there for 14 months. At least I got back 14 months. I got back on February 25th of 2020. So I've been back about 14 months. It's April now. And I'm hoping to go back sometime soon. I'm going to be going back. But today I've traveled, I've lived in 2 different cities for about 6 months each time. So I want to talk about the first time I went to a city where I stayed 6 months, and that's San Miguel de Allende. I learned about it, and I want to encourage people to go look at YouTube videos, read books. I've got books about Mexico. First and foremost, I'll tell you about when I went back to Mexico the second time. I went back to Cuernavaca, and then for a week, and then I went over the second time, and then I went over to San Miguel de Allende and stayed there for 5.5 months, almost 6 months. But I want to tell you, it gave me a book, and it's a very good book, and it's a book about Mexico from Lonely Planet. There's a lot of good books. I'm not promoting this book, well, in a sense, but I'm just sharing. This book has a lot. Any city in Mexico you want to go to, it's got information. Tells you what sites to go see, restaurants, hotels, museums, parks, you name it, any place you want to go, travel places, activities, sports, recreations, things like that. It's all in this book, and you'd be amazed. It must cover every city in Mexico, just about. I'm telling you. It even covers the Yucatan. A lot of people like to go to the Yucatan, stuff like that too. So it covers everything. Mexico City, all the big cities, the smaller cities, everything. Okay. By the way, San Miguel de Allende, that's the parroquia. That's a cathedral, and it's in the center of the El Jardín, which is the plaza, plaza in the center of downtown. And it's beautiful, and then there's shops all around there and everything. And then there's more and more and more and more and more. I'll try to get into some of that. So I want to say San Miguel de Allende is a great place. It's a great place. What I would suggest for people to do is also, first watch a lot of YouTube videos. There's books like this. The one I just showed you, you can go to Barnes and Nobles. There's tons of books for every country, just about. And you got books on Mexico. Read them, or go on your internet or something like that. Google things. You can also look for things like cost of living, how safe is this place? And places I go, I've never had a problem. In all the many cities I've went to in Mexico, I've never had a problem. So I never even had someone give me a dirty look or give me, nothing like that. So they're great people. They're just great people. That might be a whole other video. They're great people. Yeah, they're great. So with San Miguel de Allende, I'll tell you, a lot of people, and I had some fears the first time I went to Cuernavaca, but I went with a friend, but I was still a little bit concerned and stuff like that. How am I going to get along? I don't speak Spanish. I took a course in Spanish. I took a semester in Spanish in college. I still have my workbook. I did the work, but I kept it. For some reason, I just kept it, I kept my text, and it was one semester. I never practiced it. And so I went to Cuernavaca the first time I went, and in even San Miguel, I could say I knew just a wee bit. I went the first time Mexico, 0. And then the second time, I started learning. Well, I learned a little bit the first time. A few words were important. One word, different words, like you're going to learn por favor, please, or you're going to learn gracias, thank you, más o menos, more or less. You're going to learn some numbers. You're going to learn in one big word. You're going to have to learn, and you will definitely, I know you will learn this first. You're pretty close to first, is baño, because baño is bathroom. So you're going to be around Mexico. You're going to, baño, baño, over there. So, excuse me. So, you go to Mexico. I got to San Miguel de Allende. Let me get into talking about San Miguel de Allende. I got there on a Friday night. I took this great bus. It's called ADO, but ADO. And there's other buses. The bus is like, just picture a Greyhound bus in the United States. Well, you just put that in your head for a minute and think of a luxury bus with big padded seats, leg rest, little television sets. Someone's trying to call in. Okay, I'll get to that. Air conditioning, double-decker buses, luxury buses that give you lunch and something to drink. You either get a bottle of water, a bottle of pop or juice. They'll give you sandwiches, things like that. Other little snacks for your rides on the bus. So that's great. Luxury bus. Don't even think you're not going to be riding a bus like a Greyhound, because in Mexico and all the big bus stations, they're all luxury buses. So you're going to get on one of these luxury buses or whatever. Depends what airport, what city and stuff you take them from. I don't know what your schedule might be like or your trip might be like, but you take those beautiful buses, and they have double decker, and you can even see the top. They have a big windshield on the top floor. And if you get your ticket a little bit early, you can pick your seat. For instance, you'll get a choice to reserve a seat. If you want to sit up in the front, get up on the top. I usually get in the front somewhere, or I get on the top in the front, and I never had a problem. I always get the great seats, So sometimes it depends, and if I'm in Mexico already, what I'll do is I'll go a few days early and make a reservation for that bus. Like for instance, when I went to Cuernavaca, we got there. My friend said right away, make a reservation. He's traveled all over the world. He knows Mexico well. We took his mother there. She lives there. Anyways, he says, as soon as you get off the bus from the airport, get your ticket back. Make a reservation, and then you won't have any problem. And then you'll get to pick whatever seat you want. And sometimes you could go the day before you leave, or the day before you catch a bus, and get a reservation. I found out you could get a reservation to get a really nice seat on the bus. But they're all great seats. You're not squished in there like a sardine can, like a Greyhound up here. You got a lot of leg room, like I said. They're big, soft chairs, big soft chairs, leg rests that come up on your feet. There's TVs. It's wonderful. It's great. You get in the upper decker bus, you could see. Oh my God, it's great. It's all enclosed, but the windows are so big. I sit up in the front. Okay, enough of that. So you're traveling on this luxury bus in comfort and very comfortable. And you get to your city. Like I got to San Miguel de Allende. When I got there, I was lucky. At first, I found a hotel I didn't care for too much downtown. It was okay, but I wanted something a little bit different. So I took my suitcase, my cases, my luggage. I wheeled them through town and over some cobblestone roads downtown. I'm downtown. I found a couple blocks later, I found an even better hotel. It was a little bit more. It was more, but it was well worth it. So I stayed in there on a Friday night. I didn't even go downtown. I just knew there was a lot of action going on. And I went down, I woke up the next day early, went for breakfast. So it's my first full day in San Miguel de Allende. The weekend was great. I just loved the festivities that were going on, everything that was going on, the art galleries, the restaurants, everything. That parroquia, that church, beautiful architecture all around. Colors are great. Great street musicians, just great musicians playing on the street. And I don't like to call them street musicians because up here in the U.S., it could lead some people put a negative connotation to it. Street musicians, with it. But no, there's some really good musicians that play. Occasionally, you'll run into them downtown. They'll be playing on the streets. There'll be other people just playing, and they might not be, as good as the other guy, but they're still pretty good. I give them a lot of credit, and I tip them all the time. I tip everybody that's playing there. So let me think. Okay, I'm over there. I stayed my first weekend, and I love the place. And like I said, a lot of art galleries, a lot of restaurants, museums. And I remember walking up from the hotel, and there you go, down this one street, up right by in the center of town, and there's a Starbucks. I said, whoa, there's a Starbucks. But I'm not big on Starbucks that much. Sometimes I go there. But if you walk in there, I'll tell you what, you're going to find a bunch of foreigners in there on their laptops, talking, working. They must do something. They're on the internet. They're up there on their laptops, maybe because there's Wi-Fi there. But you can get Wi-Fi in your apartments, things like that. Wi-Fi isn't hard to come across. Maybe they just like going and having their coffee and socialize there too. But you're going to find a bunch of people from the U.S. and Canada. So you're going to feel real comfortable. But as I'm staying there, my Spanish is getting, goes from, this, it starts getting, well, I had a little bit. I had about that. Then it starts growing, So the more I stayed in Mexico, the better my Spanish got. I don't claim to know Spanish. I don't claim to, of course, I'm not fluent. God, no. But I do know enough now after all the times I've been to Mexico and the time that I spent there that I can get by a little bit. I can get by a little bit. So, so anyway, this is a thing. People want to go to San Miguel de Allende, a lot of people, because it's a beautiful cosmopolitan city that was voted best, what was it? The world's best smallest city. The world's best smallest city. It means the best smallest city in the world. It was voted by Travel and Leisure. I think it was 2016 and 2017. It still ranks up high. So travel, but I didn't know that until a couple months after I got there. My sister sent me a link, from the Boston Globe that said that a couple of years ago. It's an old link, So anyway, such a beautiful city. So I'm there for the weekend, and then Monday comes, and I decide, well, I'm going to stay here. I really didn't make plans on how long I was going to stay in Mexico. I did get a hotel for a month, but I left that hotel because I wanted to come here. Not because it was bad or there were any problems. I just needed a little bit change up. I wanted to go to San Miguel de Allende, and I decided to do it. Get out of my comfort zone and get out of that nice hotel with a pool. It's great. But I get out of my comfort zone. Plus, I want to be around more English-speaking people because of my lack of Spanish-speaking ability. So lo and behold, like I told you, I'm there's a lot of people from the U.S. and Canada there, and England, and Germany, and Amsterdam, and for all over, French. You'll meet people from all over, Asia and things like that. There's all kinds of people going down there. So it's the cosmopolitan city, voted #1 best city in the U.S. I mean, in the world. God, what am I thinking? In the world. So this great city. It's probably the best, smallest city in the world, and I can see why. It's so beautiful. The colors of the buildings, the architecture, the music, the venues they have there, the restaurants, museums, the parks, just the city, strolling through the city streets, even in the neighborhoods. It's just so beautiful. And the friendliness of the Mexican people. Oh my God, like I said, I think I mentioned it, never once did I ever have a problem. I never had anyone in Mexico look at me like, right, never. Excuse me. I just got done trimming my mustache and things, so I'm a little itchy again. So excuse me. But anyway, beautiful, great people. And okay, here it is. I spent the weekend there. Fast forward real quick. The next day, Monday, I'm decided to stay. I'm in this hotel. I'm spending I think $60 a night. And it was a good hotel, but on the weekends they charge more. I could have got it for $50 on the weekdays, but I spent a couple more days. But in that process, people used to say about go Airbnbs, get Airbnbs, and I didn't know anything about Airbnb, and I didn't want to go for it. But I looked up on the internet and I found out a local realty company there, and it has lists of apartments. And I looked down at them, and okay, let me call them up. And this wonderful woman answered the phone. She says, "Come on down to the office. I got something I'd like to show you." And she had a couple things. There's one in particular. And I went down to the office in downtown. What was it? Okay, I was going to say that, But anyway, I went to the office and I met her, and she was a very sophisticated Mexican lady, very sophisticated, and she spoke English real well too, but she was also very sophisticated, but very kind, very nice, very nice lady, very warm. And she says, "I'll take you down. Let's go to my car." Her car was a couple blocks down. We drove down to the apartment. It's 15 miles from the center of downtown. So I was still maybe at the fringe of Central. So I'm in a neighborhood over there downtown. And she took me to this Pravada. It's like a private street. It's only got 4 residences on it. I think it's kind of like you'd go down a street with a cul-de-sac, but it didn't have that round turnaround. But it had 4 different residences, maybe 5 at the most. So anyway, that's where the apartments are. So there were 2 apartments that were exactly like the one I got, the one that I was showed. It was a beautiful apartment, bedroom upstairs, big bathroom, really nice bedroom. When you rent an apartment there, everything's furnished. I mean, in most places, everything's furnished. There were towels there, beautiful towels. Even there were a couple Ralph Lauren Polo towels, but everything was nice there. And she showed me this apartment. It was nice. It was beautiful. Small kitchen, but cozy. And then a cozy living room with a little area with a table. It's amazing. Anyway, so cute apartment. Then, if I go out to have a balcony going around it, then I could take up on these steps, and then there's a big terrace. I could see the parts of the city, and it's beautiful. It's just really beautiful. So, anyways, I got the place, and all utilities included, and cable TV. You get they had WGN from Chicago, PBS. They had the CNN, the MSNBC. I don't know if they had other news networks. They may have the regular major networks from the U.S. and then some others, and National Geographic and some other ones. And so great TV, but I didn't watch a lot of TV. Maybe in the morning when I had a cup of coffee, once in a while I would turn something on, but I was always up and out, take a shower, up and out, because I'm there to see the city, not to sit in an apartment, although a nice apartment. And I did spend some time in there doing so. I'll tell you more later in a minute. So I got this great apartment, but see, when she shows me the apartment, right? She tells me everything, and I got in it, and she's going to call the landlord. The landlord's going to come over to meet me, and I decided to get the apartment. So, oh, by the way, anyways, the landlord comes, and lo and behold, now I'm running into these people who speak English, Well, so who's the landlord? A man from Seattle. He's been living down there for 20 years. He owns 3 casinos. The one next to mine, and he owns the bigger one. Okay, now already all these people, and my Spanish is just maybe just that much, a few words now. Okay, or more than a few words, but more than a few words. But I don't want to put myself too low, but it's teeny weeny little bit, So I get the apartment, and then the bigger apartment was next to me. 2 people from the U.S. A retired teacher from a college teacher. She was really nice, and then her husband. He's a nice man. He's from Kansas, and she was from Michigan, like I am. And but she was from Kalamazoo. She's from Kalamazoo. I just spoke to her about 6 months ago, or not even that. I called her and we talked. But they're up here. I mean, they're not up here. They're in Kansas. They have a house in Kansas too now because of the COVID. Well, anyway, they were living in this other apartment. It was bigger than mine. But the thing is, they were living there temporarily until their house across the street, they have like a 4-tier house. There's like 4 levels of like terraces, and they had I think it's like 3 levels, but they had 4 terraces. So, they were waiting for the house to be renovated. So, they were staying next to me, but they're really only just as close across the street because it's a very narrow street. Calle. It's a calle. It's a privada. It's like private drive. It's nice. But then around the corner there was a guy. He had a chicken coop, roosters, and all that stuff. And whatever. I'm not gonna try to imitate a rooster, but they were cool. And great neighborhood, beautiful neighborhood. It's classy neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. But I'd walk through, and then my beautiful walk was going down, going into town, further into town, closer into town to get to downtown, was about a 15-minute walk. And I'd have to go up the hills. One was Umaran. That was a pretty steep hill, but I would do that sometimes. Then I found out the Pila Seca, because I was on Pila Seca. I was living on Pila Seca Privada, the Privada of Pila Seca. So Pila Seca will take you up on a less of an incline going up. So I was going into town. That took me up to Zacateras, okay? The other one takes you to a little bit further up, a couple blocks away in town, but it's all beautiful. So I was down there, and when I was in Mexico, so I had this beautiful walks. Either way is great, because I like to walk past the shops, the butcher shops, the markets, the mercados, and and seeing action. There was a bike shop over there, and on this one corner, it goes up a hill like a little slant, and it's cool. Cars be going, and it's like fun. It's like fun to watch because they didn't have a stoplight. traffic light, you know. They just had a stop sign over there, and what they would do is like watching it, and they're very good together, very considerate of each other, you know, driving, you know. They're not like running out too fast or in front of someone. So they're really good drivers, you know. It's not Mexico City, you know what I mean? It's not a big place like that. I'm sure it could get pretty hectic up there, I heard, but it's not bad. But I would walk, you know, up Pila Seca, or there's a little connection that Pila Seca would lead to, and that was called a pathway. And that's where some beautiful homes are, and big, beautiful. Well, I lived in a neighborhood that had all beautiful homes, but then it turned like into just the average, I don't know what you'd say, just the average, you know, average homes, you know, and there were people who live, you know, but sorry, I'm gonna get known for that. You know, but you know, you walk up this pathway, and it's beautiful. And you go up there, it's private. You can't drive a car up there, but you can walk up there, and it's this pathway. It's about maybe a third of a mile long. And you get up there, and right away you get on it, and there's the Arroyo Gallery. What a beautiful gallery, beautiful paintings, and that's a woman from the U.S. So here I am. I got a landlord from the U.S. I got two neighbors next to me from the U.S., right? I have a real estate agent. She speaks English well. And so this is how it's falling into place, you know? So then that woman was, so I went to that gallery, and then you go up, and then there's a little compound in a big building. There's there's meditation. You have yoga classes, meditation, things like that. It's really good. I mean, I don't know, but a lot of people tell me it's pretty good. You know, I can understand meditation, but I never did yoga or anything like that. You know, maybe someday. Who knows? But it's a lot of people from the U.S. are teachers there. So, okay, went there. I mean, I went past there, and they have these little places you could sit. It's just beautiful trees. It's just wonderful. So you get up there, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're on the Zacatecas, and it comes up. You're on this busy street, and you're led. No, actually, where Zacatecas meets San Antonio Boulevard, the Ancha. So you're in a lot of action there. Okay, now you can go into even town even further, and then go on the other part of Central downtown, and there's great stuff. There's expensive restaurants all around that. Even where I was at in my side, there's small restaurants, there's inexpensive restaurants, there's taco stands if you want to eat something real inexpensive. They're good, you know, really inexpensive. And then you can go to mid-range restaurants. You can go to restaurants that are high class, very high class restaurants, you know. I mean, you go to a high class restaurant, you're not going to want to dress like this, you know. You're a dead ringer for someone from the U.S. No, I'm just kidding. No, you know how we dress when we go to a very nice, expensive, really expensive. We put on a shirt, you know, out a collar, and we don't wear ball caps or tennis shoes, and we wear slacks, a nice pair of slacks. I remember going to some of those restaurants. They always have a good jazz group in there, you know, dinner, music, all kinds of stuff. So you're gonna find, you know, you're gonna go to an expensive restaurant, and whatever you spend in a high class restaurant, where you go, nice, it's beautiful, the ambiance, well, everywhere the ambiance is cool. But you're going to a high class restaurant, and you're gonna pay half. If you went to a restaurant similar to that in the U.S., you're going to pay only half down there, okay? There's a lot of good restaurants. So then there's restaurants that have catering to a lot of people from the U.S., like there's this Louisiana seafood place, you know, they call it, I forgot what it's called, Louisiana something, you know. And then there's other restaurants. There's all kinds of restaurants, anything you want. Mexican restaurants, restaurants would cater to with the U.S. Menu, and then on some of the menus, even if you go to a restaurant, whatever, Mexican restaurant, many of them, not all, but many in San Miguel de Allende have menus in both English and Spanish. So, okay, now I don't want to give you the impression that everything's U.S. there. No, it's Mexico. You're in Mexico, and you're going to see a lot of Mexican people. But in San Miguel de Allende, you're going to see a lot of people from the U.S., mostly from the U.S. and Canada, and you're going to see people from Europe and Asia and other places. They're going to be there as tourists, or they go to live there. Some of them have retired down there. Some people have bought homes down there. Some people have had, and even the baby boomers, their mothers and fathers had, and I'm a baby boomer, you too, at the end, at the tail end, but a lot of them had parents that had lived there and retired there before them, and they got the house or whatever. And then some of them just bought property. There were people buying property over there and turning them into Airbnbs and making a lot of money. So, which I think makes it a little difficult for, some of the poorer Mexican people, because they can't afford, when rents go up, they can't afford, they have to move further away where it's a lot less money but, that's a whole nother, that's another thing. So I'm there, and there's a lot of great Mexican people, but I got to know Mexican people too, and I get to be friends with Mexican people, but I had a lot of English speaking friends too. And there's things, there's a great restaurant on the other end of town. That'd be a good walk for me. Sometimes I would take a cab, because I could take a taxi. Taxis are inexpensive, pretty inexpensive. So, and then I go to a place called Via Organica. It's an organic, sells the restaurant, organic foods, a store there, organic foods. Really nice place. Really, really nice place. Like I said, anything you buy there is half the price that you're going to pay up here in the USA. So really nice, just kind of trendy, but it's a good, nice restaurant. A lot of nice, very nice restaurant. And it's in an artist district in Guadalupe, Colonia, which means neighborhood. So it's there, and it's very nice. And the murals all over town, but over here especially too in Guadalupe. But there are a lot of great murals all over Mexico. That pathway, they call it the spiritual pathway, the one I was talking about. You go past the art gallery, and the colors of the buildings and the architecture. It's amazing. Oh my God, you feel alive, you feel alive. Now, I don't think you need, I don't know, but you feel, for me anyway, I just, like, there was one lady I heard on a video, and I'm not going to say which one. They're good, they travel all over Mexico, there's a couple. And I'm not going to say which couple, because there's a few of them that make YouTube videos. Watch their videos. All of them, as many as you can get your hands on or you can watch. So she said, oh yeah, in the U.S. they have, the colors in Mexico are beautiful, and they're vibrant, and you see all these different shades of beautiful colors. And she says, but up in the U.S. you get about 5 or 6 shades of brown. So, it's a little bit different there. Now, music, art galleries, whatever. I got to know, and you want to meet people that, they're very friendly. For instance, I was looking for a hat with a, round brim hat, and it was some beautiful hat store, in Central downtown, and there was woman that I met in a store there, and she was from New York, and she happened to own an art gallery. She owns an art gallery right there in town. And then I met someone else. I was visiting an art gallery, and there was a woman there sitting at a desk, and she works there, and we just started talking, and she says, "Sit down. Why don't you sit down?" She asked me to sit down in the chair at the front desk, and it's like she's very inviting, friendly, just being friendly. And we would talk about different things, and we talked about U.S. politics. She told me about Mexican politics, but I'm not going to talk about politics here. I'm not going to do that, but you can imagine what kind of politics. I'm with artists here, so but she's really nice. And I got to know her a little bit, and I got to know some guys too, and then I met some more Americans and a bunch of those, and different people, and Canadians. They're Americans too. They're North American, but people from the U.S. and Canada, and then other German, whatever, England, from England, you name it. They're coming from all over from Europe, and a few from Asia, but mostly U.S. and Canadian. Okay, so here I am, but I'm also making Mexican friends too. And my Spanish was getting a little bit better, but I thought about, because the first time I was in Mexico when I was in Cuernavaca, I was going to get involved. I was thinking of getting involved in this immersion course or these 4-hour-a-day things, but that would have been a little bit too tough on me. Maybe 2 hours a day might have been good, but I just didn't, because I wanted to see the city more. But anyway, so now I'm going back. I'm in San Miguel de Allende. So there's a place there's a few bibliotecas, and biblioteca is a library. And someone told me if I go to the biblioteca, I could get someone Spanish speaking Mexican who also speaks good English. They could teach me Spanish. So, take some courses or some private lessons, rather. So I went in there. There was a woman in the office, and there was always like 3 offices. One office had a woman. The other ones are empty. So I went up to the woman working there. I think she was a manager or something there. She held a position here. She was supervisor, manager or something. I asked her, I told her, I said, I could use a Spanish teacher. And she says, "Oh, no problem. No problem." She got right on the phone, called her friend up. She says, "I'm going to call a friend of mine." And I got to meet that lady, and I probably had 4 or 5 sessions with her, 1.5-hour sessions. And we still communicate today. We text a lot, and she sends me pictures of her daughters, and it's wonderful. And when I go back, I'll probably take more lessons from her, But anyway, I will take more lessons from her. Not probably. I will. She's a great teacher. So I have to rethink about what I'm saying here. So I'm learning more and more and more. I'm learning more as it goes by, as I go by. And then I'm learning different things a little bit. And that's when I started learning. As a matter of fact, my neighbor, they're from Kalamazoo, Michigan. She spoke Spanish fluently, and so did her husband. And she was teaching me derecha, right? How you say right, straight ahead, and turn right if I'm in a taxi cab. Then I found myself, I learned some things on giving, like letting them know what direction I'm going in, or where to turn or something like that, or if I wanted to change turns, so I'm learning this stuff, and then I'm learning more things, more words and more words, so I find out that some of the cab drivers, they lived in the U.S. They start speaking English. A few, but more in Ajijic, but that's another city. But you run into some cab drivers, and they're just work every day as a cab driver, and they know some English. "Oh, yeah, how'd you learn English?" "Oh, I was up in Dallas. I lived up there for 5 years or 7 years, or I lived over here in the U.S. or over here or over here." They're all over. So I meet people like that. Wonderful. Another person who helped teach me Spanish was the housekeeper. That's a wonderful thing. You go to Mexico, you live in an apartment, you rent an apartment, you get a housekeeper. So I use the housekeeper, the same housekeeper that the married couple uh, use in the next building, next real close to me, next apartment. I use the same housekeeper, and because usually and she's good. So I learned a little bit things from her. A few words and here and there, and some expressions and phrases a little bit from her. She's a very nice lady, Carmelita. She's a very nice lady. So I let's see what else. So I'm learning and I'm picking up, and then there was a guy that picks up the trash. At first, um, I used to do the garbage truck. Garbage truck comes down the block, and like 3 houses down. And then you hear in the morning, it goes like 3 mornings, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It goes, you hear a cowbell. Ging, 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 ging. And if you're up at 7:30, you take your trash, you bring it to the garbage truck. You don't throw it on the garbage truck. They throw it on the garbage truck, and they got a little can for tips. But then this other guy, he's a neighborhood guy, Augustine. What he would do is he'd be the trash man too. Like he'd make an agreement to haul your trash down the street when they come and this and that. So we give him a little bit of money too, and he does it too sometimes. And he's a wonderful guy. He spoke a little bit of English. He spoke a little. I miss him. He's a good guy, Augustine. Um, so, I'm in this neighborhood, great neighborhood, but the city is great. It's so beautiful. The parochia, the church, the cathedral there, the Benito Juarez Park. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. Big park. Um, Go further in town, you got to go up to the Mirador. You got to climb up this or kind of go up this hill that leads up there. There's residential areas right on the outskirts of town. The most amazing views of the city that I think I've ever seen. Or one, yeah, I could say that. Just beautiful. It's amazing. So I just have these pictures in my head. So you go up to this beautiful city, and then it goes up further. If you go up for a while, you go way, way up the hill, you're going to hit a mall. Beautiful mall. It's like an outdoor mall, but you can go indoors too. And yeah, it's beautiful. What a mall. And they have a place called Liverpool. They have a lot of different stores. Liverpool is similar to Macy's. So if you want to go to a place like Macy's, go to Liverpool. That's about the same. Let me think. There's another store in town called Capel. That's it's a department store. It's really cool. It's like Sears. It's like a Sears. Really, everything's so clean and neat there, and they have good stuff. Capel's is good stuff too. You can get anything there. It's like a Sears. There's a place too called Coyote Travels. You can go on an air balloon. If you want to go up and away in an air balloon, they got that too. They have like tours, and then they have I want to go on the ATV. I signed up for the all-terrain four-wheeler. They take you out and show you how to ride them, and because people ride them on the streets there. They use them to get around town. A lot of gringos, people from the Canada and U.S., they buy them and use them around. Some have cars, but the ATVs are cool because they're easier to park. You get a car and parking is a little tight. You know what I mean? But you get these ATVs you could drive around too. Let's see. So you can go up that Mirador, up to the Mirador, see the whole city. Oh my God! There's these steps, and tons of. That's high. It's like climbing these steps. But you can go another way too. There's other ways you can get up there. Beautiful neighborhood. Very rich. Very beautiful buildings, mansions. It's Okay, nightclubs. Let me talk about nightclubs. I'm shooting off the cuff here. I don't have an outline, but nightclubs, great restaurants. There's some high class restaurants, middle class. I mean, middle range restaurants, and small, restaurants, inexpensive. You go there. The couple next door to me, they have a little printout they made for people who come to Mexico, to San Miguel de Allende. Tells you all the restaurants are that they like, that they've been to. They don't give them a review or anything, but they say, here's one I enjoyed. And here's one it's easy to get to, or something like that for different things. So, okay, so there's a couple Italian restaurants real close to each other. You get like French restaurants, you can get, just regular stuff. There's one restaurant, it's really cool, classy little, it's not classy, it's little, it's kind of nice, good sized restaurant. It's called what is it? Hecho Mexico. Hecho Mexico. That's what it's, Hecho Mexico. Couldn't remember the name. That's nice. A lot of me and my friends, we used to go there. People I got acquainted with, we used to go there. Great lunches. Great chicken soup. Best chicken soup I ever ate in my life. And I ate a lot of chicken soup, too. Best chicken soup I ever ate in my life. And everything in there was good. They have a menu that caters to Americans. Serves a lot of American food and Mexican food too. Okay, if you're a wine drinker, I don't drink. I haven't drank for years. I don't care if anybody drinks. Someone with me, a friend of mine, cool. Go enjoy yourself. I gotta say one thing: if you go and pick up a drink, you gotta be careful if you drink too much, because you gotta watch those cobblestone roads. You get women with high heels. Watch it. A lot of women don't wear high heels. Some try. You see them doing it on the streets, and they're like, you can see the look on their face. They're ready to grab something, They're worried about breaking a heel or something, because you can get hurt. Some women get hurt, and that's yes. And then you got to watch anybody, whether you're drinking or not drinking. There's, I know on Zacatecas, there's a trench, little trench, along, you step down off the curb, you're going to step into a little trench. It's about that deep. It's about that wide. So you can hurt yourself. Really, you have to watch, and it's like here too. You don't walk and talk on your cell phones, texting, and what you right here, you're texting with your cell phone and stuff, because you miss that you can hurt yourself real easy. And there's a lot of cement, I guess, like up here too. So, okay, what else? Nightclubs. Oh, galleries. Let me hit art galleries first. The Royal Gallery. I'm just going to name a couple I know. There's a lot more. The Royal Gallery's up on that walkway I was telling you about. It's a woman from the U.S. I think she's from the East Coast. Beautiful artwork. Oh my God. Then there's, like I said, I met a woman in a hat shop. It's a hat and jewelry, or hat, belts, and things like that. Very upscale place. I met this woman from New York, and she has an art gallery, which is right next door to Paprika's. And Paprika's is a great place. You go down in, it's like almost like you're going to another lower level. It's beautiful. It's open air. There's trees up above. Bands there, music. You're going to hear some of the best music around right there at Paprika. You can hear classical. You can hear jazz. You're going to hear folk. You'll hear some rock kind of stuff, and you hear anything over there. Yeah, everything good. And yeah. So, and then you go up the street, and there's another about 2 blocks down, El Tupanambas, another excellent restaurant with great music. They have a gypsy jazz band that plays there every Sunday. They play for a couple hours. They are great. They start at 7 o'clock. You get out at 9. You get home, and every Sunday night they play. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't doubt if they're still playing every Sunday night. Bunch of young cats, Mexicans, Mexican people. They kind of remind me in a way. They play gypsy jazz. They kind of, not exactly similar, but same type of music, more or less, that a group from Detroit plays. A group, they were based in Detroit. The hot club of Detroit. It's gypsy jazz. But they have an accordionist too, both groups. But they have this young lady that plays accordion. Oh my God. And then you got the guy with the banjo. This is gypsy jazz. He's half Mexican and half U.S., American. So he's both. And I think he's from California. Great. Then they have a horn section. And now the rest of the people, except I think the drummer is from the U.S. And then the rest are Mexicans. There's about 10 people in the group. Great. And the food there is excellent. And you go in there, in all these places, the owners treat you, man. I mean, they are so nice to you. They treat you like a friend. They welcome you like you're welcoming you into their home, I mean, they're so friendly. You feel so comfortable, you just, anyone, you don't have to be, a CEO of a company for them to treat you well, they're going to treat everybody well. They're great people. You're smart. It's good business too. But I think they do it because of their personality. Okay. There's other places that have music. There's these upscale restaurants. They have jazz music. One had a salsa music on the weekends. Great stuff. There's other music venues. Let me think. If you like music, you like karaoke. Excuse me. Whether you sing or don't sing, karaoke. There's like a karaoke circuit there. You can go on Friday nights at around 7:30 at Aso Azul, and that's on Zacateros too. Good karaoke. It's in like a hotel. They have a restaurant there too. It's nice. Small little room for karaoke, but get a lot of people from the U.S., a lot of baby boomers in there singing music from the 60s and the 70s, and all kinds of music, they'll sing all kinds of music from the 60s and 70s. You'll get some people singing some 80s stuff too, and then you'll get some people singing show tunes, or people singing stuff from the 40s or 50s or some old jazz, or they sing a lot of 60s and 70s stuff, and show tunes too, rock, whatever, soul music. They cover it all. Okay, that's karaoke. And then you'll see some of them on, what is it, Thursdays? I can't remember what day. At Don Lupe's. Don Lupe's is nice. It's a big room. It's a restaurant. It's going down San Antonio on the Ancha there. It's a little bit away. It's about a couple miles, or almost 2 miles from this other place. But then on the next block is La Chaparia. They have a nice, both of the places have stages. The last one I mentioned, Don Lupe's, has a stage. And then La Chaparia's even has a higher stage where a band usually plays. And they have great karaoke there. And there's a woman named Annie. She runs, with her husband, but she runs all three karaoke's at all these places. So you get to know people, you get to know people, you feel great. So San Miguel de Allende, okay. Now I wish I could, I don't have a lot of time to mention a lot more. There's a lot more. I want to cover a couple things. I want to say, if you want to go, there's clubs there. There's literary clubs. There's art clubs. I stay down there. I just started, my creative juices started flowing. Like I said, Via Organica, it's in the artist area of Guadalupe Colony, Colonia. There's an art store there. So I don't paint, never painted, but I grab pencils, colored pencils, erasers, and I got a notepad. Not a notepad, an artist pad. And went there, because I used to draw, and I quit drawing when I was 14. Started drawing again, sketching, abstract, conceptual art. Then I got some colored pencils, and I started coloring them. Some of the stuff looks pretty good, I think, and some other people think so too. But it's good. It's pretty good. So I started doing that again in some of my spare time. And so that's, what am I going to get to next? Okay. I was saying there's artist clubs or organizations. There's literary clubs, organizations, and I went to this literary club event, and they had writers who wrote books, people from the U.S. who moved down to Mexico wrote books, and they'd sell their books there, but they'd give a talk, and they talk for just like me for a long time. But anyway, they were very interesting, and they would talk about their writing, and then they'd sell their books after. So I would buy some of their books, and then there was a political thing I went to, and I just want to show something to you. Que pasa? Yes, Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico. He was talking about Mexico and U.S. relations, and he was very positive. He didn't say anything negative about U.S. or U.S. Politics. He was very, very kind and complimentary, but he just has some ideas. So he has his ideas. Now, when I went up there, I got to meet him, and I got some snaps, some pictures. After he got done speaking, some lady said, "Hey, let me take your phone. I'll take a picture of you and him together." And he's quite a tall man. He's about 6'3". Very interesting man. He was former president of Coca-Cola, Mexico, as well as former president of Mexico. So I got to talk with him for a minute, because there are a lot of people talking, and people over there wanted to meet him. Also, there's a great paper. This one's a little rolled up. It's called Attention. And this paper, you can even get it on the internet. Check it out on the internet. You can get this, and this is half English and half Spanish. And it gives you, like here, like they advertise the Jazz and Blues Festival that's going on there. Tell you what I just learned is after I left, I found out that later on during the year, they have a film festival over there, and that Nicolas Cage was supposed to go, but he didn't make it, or he couldn't go, or he changed his mind. And Gus Van Sant, Good Will Hunting, and many other good movies, many other good movies. Drugstore Cowboy, other ones too. He showed up there, and he got an award there at the San Miguel Film Festival. So, you got that, okay. Oh yeah, going back to this lecture, this was about, it's very interesting. It was going on about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was proceeds. There's tickets, and it was all expats, or people from the U.S. and Canada. All the proceeds went to an organization. A doctor came and spoke there, and for Down syndrome. There's a lot of people, young kids with Down syndrome, so all proceeds went to, to that. San Miguel de Allende is a great place. Now, if you want to find out about cost of living, just go to YouTube channel. I don't have a rundown, a sheet of all my bills. Only thing I probably know about is what my rent was. It wasn't too high. I don't have the breakdown of them all. I didn't do that. But I know it's more expensive than some of the other cities. But don't just go by my word. I know that, But also I double checked it, and I compared it with another cities in Mexico. You can do that. Go on your internet. Just Google cost of living in San Miguel de Allende versus cost of living in Mexico City. And they'll break down how much apartments are, how much the food is, how much the taxis are. They'll tell you. And then you can get it like in U.S. or pesos. So it'll be easier for you to, it's very simple. You go up San Miguel de Allende, cost of living, compared to if you're in St. Louis, Michigan, or Detroit, or Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, or if you're whatever city you want to. Generally, it'll be Detroit or some big city, but you go cost of living, San Miguel de Allende. Say you live in Chicago, cost of living in San Miguel de Allende and Chicago, and they'll tell you, they'll have rows, and they'll tell you, and I'm telling you, this guy's got a book out. I can't remember what his name is. It's better life for half the price. So a lot of people are going to retire there. They're going to visit, or they're on tourists or whatever. Um, it's such a great place. I'm going back someday again, maybe to visit, maybe to stay. I'm not sure. But right now I'm here in the U.S., I'm pretty young. I'm relatively young, a retired guy. I'm in my early 60s, so I got a whole lifetime, to go back, but not too much. I'm not going to wait too much longer, but I'll just say, I think I said a lot. Oh, here, there's a book. I don't promote people's stuff. I think a woman from San Miguel, I know it's a woman from San Miguel de Allende. She wrote, I just picked these things up on the internet because I had to pick up so many books to get a deal or get free shipping. And I noticed her name was on it, and she's from San Miguel de Allende, so I bought this book. There's also other books. I know this lady's from Cuernavaca. I saw a video where it wasn't promoting her book. It's about health care in Mexico. You can get different books to say you want to get health insurance down there or find out what that's about. That's a whole nother video. I don't have health insurance over there as of now. Maybe next time I go, I have insurance up here. But it's always something to look into. Medical care is cheap. I had an Ingram Antonio. I went to a doctor. Saw 2 doctors. I was in Oaxaca City. Let me give you a rundown. I'll tell you all the places I went. Been to Cuernavaca, been to Tepoztlán. I've been to San Miguel de Allende. I lived in San Miguel de Allende. And then I went to Oaxaca City for 5 days, and then went over to Ajijic, stayed there for 6 months. I was in Guadalajara. I've been to Guadalajara, and Chapala, and some other cities. So there's probably some I didn't say, but I've been to a few cities, and I as well traveled as all the YouTube people. There's YouTube people that travel all around the world. They travel all around Mexico. You got to check them out, because check out YouTube channels. They'll tell you a lot more. So see a lot more videos, show you videos. They walk. Anyways, so I'm talking a lot. I love talking about Mexico. I love sharing about Mexico, and I'm glad I have an audience. I know I went too long, and I'm glad I have someone I can talk to, and I hope I can, inspire someone to go to Mexico. Just don't give up, man. It's a great place, and try it. You'll like it. Okay, you might love it. I'd love it. So hopefully you will too. Okay, adios, hasta luego, and gracias.